Okay, so now everyone wants to talk about the fact that there were FBI agents in the crowd on January 6th. But do you know why this story is so important? I had multiple videos removed while Biden was president for trying to tell you guys about this. It was all one big ass hoax to try to get rid of Donald Trump. See, the same group of people have been in power for many years. Donald Trump referred to that group of people as the deep state. The deep state was able to maintain their power for so long by creating the illusion that you were voting for your next president. They did this by putting one of their own on the Democrat side and on the Republican side. And then they used their money to make sure that their own won the primary on both sides. So when it came time for us to vote, it didn't matter who we chose. They owned both of them. So regardless of which way the election turned out, they still maintained power and control. Until a billionaire was able to use his own money to beat them in a primary. And that's when everything started. People who had historically loved Donald Trump then started mocking him in the media, claiming there was no way he'd ever win. Polls started being fabricated in a way that made it seem like Trump had less support than he actually did. They thought mocking and belittling him would cause the population to vote for the Democrats. They wanted Hillary Clinton, a Democrat, to win so she could continue the deep state's agenda the way her husband had in his previous terms. But they failed, and Donald Trump actually won that election. And they knew that Donald Trump's agenda was about to reverse many of their plots and schemes. So they had to get rid of him as quickly as possible. First, they made fake claims that he was colluding with Russia, and they tried to impeach him, but they failed. But they continued to demonize him in the media, hoping that people wouldn't vote for him for a second term. But after looking at the poll results, they realized that wasn't working. So they had to find a different way to take the power back. And that's why some people call it a plandemic. The timing was impeccable. You need to stay home for your own safety, right in the middle of an election campaign. And since you're staying at home, you're going to need to mail in your vote. But in order to do that, they had to change numerous election laws across multiple states, which they were able to do because there was a national emergency. And because of those changes, a large portion of the votes in the 2020 election were mail-in ballots. At the same time that the Biden administration and the FBI were actively hiding Hunter Biden's laptop from us, they also urged companies like Google and all of the social media outlets to censor videos around certain topics. The laptop was one, election fraud was another, and third were videos claiming that the vaccine was dangerous. Therefore, when videos popped up showing ballot boxes being stuffed, they were removed from the internet. When videos of ballot boxes being lit on fire popped up, they were removed from the internet. Videos of the same ballots being counted multiple times were removed from the internet. But removing the videos wasn't quite enough because Donald Trump had a massive following and he was continuously tweeting about the corruption. He had red-handedly caught them cheating and was making sure that America knew. The deep state was being exposed and they needed to either get rid of Donald Trump immediately or take away his voice. So when they seen Donald Trump tell his followers to show up to the Capitol on January 6th and peacefully protest the certification of the votes, they seen the perfect opportunity to take away his voice. Reports today are saying that they deployed 267 plainclothed FBI agents into the crowd that day. And their objective was simple: create a big enough disturbance to villainize Donald Trump even more. That way, they could blame Donald Trump for everything that happened and claim that his words are the reason that it happened. And because his words caused that disturbance on January 6th, not only did they remove him from all social media platforms so nobody could hear his words, but they also attempted a second impeachment, this time for insurrection. The one and only thing that can bar a person from ever running for president again. And that's when they created the January 6th committee to pursue the charges against Trump. A committee that consists of a bunch of actors from the deep state. But once again, they failed to pass the Senate. Donald Trump was acquitted of all charges. The deep state had successfully taken control of the power of the United States of America. And for 4 years, they ran this country into the ground. Using an auto pen, they had wide open borders. They sent hundreds of billions of dollars of our tax money to other countries. And they used non-government organizations to funnel that money back into their own pockets. Meanwhile, Trump and the Republicans are working quietly in the background to make sure that another election couldn't be stolen. For 4 years, they acted like Trump never existed while simultaneously blaming everything that could possibly go wrong on him. They claimed every negative thing that happened under Biden was just a remnant of Trump's presidency. They said inflation was just Trump's policies catching up with us. They continued to villainize him in the media left and right, and all of that brings us to 2024, where Donald Trump announced he would be running for president again. That's when the deep state did everything they possibly could to prevent it. They had Democrats registering to vote in the primaries as Republicans so they could vote for Nikki Haley rather than Trump. They tried to remove him from the ballots completely in multiple states. They weaponized the legal system and fabricated charges against him. Charges like claiming he overvalued his property 12 years ago. Another charge claimed he was the one that was attempting to steal the election. And of course, the charge where they claimed he mislabeled his financial records. That charge is normally a misdemeanor, but for the first time in history, they upgraded it to a felony and gave him 34 counts. They thought that telling you Donald Trump was a felon would have stopped you from voting for him. However, the polls still had a completely different story. Even after all of that, Sleepy Joe still had no chance at winning. And that's when they tried to take his life for the first time out at a rally in Pennsylvania. But all of the bullets missed, except for one nicked his ear. From there, they forced Sleepy Joe to step down and they implanted Kamala Harris. For a reason. They chose a black woman on purpose. So when you don't vote for her, they can call you racist, or they can call you sexist. They can spin it to call Trump racist or sexist when he battles his political opponent. And the crazy part is they installed her without letting any of the Democrats vote for her. And then they try to take Donald Trump's life a second time. But once again, they failed. Then they resorted to old tactics. They attempted to tell us that Kamala Harris was winning in the polls by a landslide. But clearly, based off of the results of the election, those polls were inaccurate. And Donald Trump ended up winning again. And right before Joe Biden left office, they gave pardons to everyone on the January 6th committee, to people within the Biden family, and to all of the people that weaponized the legal system to try to get rid of Donald Trump. And now that Donald Trump is back in power, what is he supposed to do? Just ignore that all that happened? Or should he hold all of those people accountable to make sure it never happens again? Donald Trump plans to hold each and every one of them accountable. And now that we're starting to see the indictments roll in, the deep state is trying to convince you that Donald Trump is the one weaponizing the Department of Justice. Keep an eye on the news over the next year or so, and it will verify everything I just said. Until then, remember to like and follow.